Fitz of Writing.
Good evening, Scribbles and Scratches of the Fitz of Writing community. This is Sean. I'm your host tonight. I'm here tonight with Rio L. Barney. She is the author of A Flicker in the Dark that published in June of this year, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Uh, that is the first book. Is it in a series? Is it a standalone?
It is a series. There currently are 4 books written in the series, and I just had an idea for a 5th. So the answer to your question is yes. There might be a limited number, and it might just play out.
Okay. Well, I mean, I forget who wrote them, but the Animorph series went forever and ever and ever. I read all those
Oh,
when I was a
right.
kid, so just right until the story's finished. So you already have 4 stories written. Do you have like a release schedule for all of the books that you've got done for the series yet? Or are you still polishing them, editing them, anything like that?
Yeah, I don't have a release schedule. Book 2 is done and ready to go to the publisher. Book 3 is a mess, and I've got to completely rewrite it. And I'm not quite finished with book 4 because I'm having so much fun with it that I just keep adding to it. So I'm going to have to edit that.
Okay, all right.
And
How's your experience been publishing? Did you publish yourself, or are you working with a publisher?
I'm working with a publisher,
Is it somebody
and it's
local
been
to
good. It's
you?
been a good experience.
Good.
No, they're located all over the world, but I went through their London publishing house.
Okay. Do you mind giving everybody the name of the publisher? That seems to be
Oh, sure. It's Austin Macaulay,
Awesome McCall.
and they are located all over the world. They're in London, they're in Cambridge, they're in New York,
Very cool.
and Sharjah. So,
And do they give you a hand with? Wow. And do they give you a hand with the editing process, cover selection, anything like that?
they do. They really do. They help with marketing a little bit. They did the cover design, which I really thought I was going to hate the cover. I was like, I'm going to be super picky. And the first one they sent out, I was like, love it, signed off on it. It was perfect.
Okay.
They're currently producing the audiobook right now. So the audiobook will be out sometime, I hope, before the end of the year.
Okay. Did you get any kind of say so in which audio, or I'm sorry, which like voice actor or voice narrator was going to be the person working with your book?
I did. They sent me a bunch of samples. I was really picky about that too. And so my book takes place in Scotland and in America, and then in other places, but mostly in Scotland and America. And so I was really fussy about the accent and who could say what because I have so many different characters involved in there. So I picked the character, or I picked the narrator, and then just kind of turned it over to them. They're handling it, which is great.
That sounds fantastic. See,
Yeah.
the one book I've put out, I self-publish, and having to go through all that stuff yourself is it adds an awful lot of stress to the scenario, and making sure rather than have somebody who's done this a million times giving you with all that network and all of that experience and everything. Sounds like a dream come true.
It's very nice.
But did you have to query for them, like submit everything to them? They approved you, and then they started working on getting all that set out for you and whatnot. About how long did that take?
It took a really long time. It took a long time for me to choose a publisher. Once I did, they did the first edit. I'd say in the first 6 months that they had it, and then I went through, approved corrections, sent it back, kind of thing. And then I had a song in there, and it was a copyrighted song, and I really wanted to see if we could obtain the copyright for it. So their legal team contacted, I can't even remember which music company it was, but it was a bigger one. And after like 8 months of waiting to hear back from them, I was like, forget it, I'll rewrite. It's not a big deal. Like, I don't even care about that song anymore. I probably couldn't even listen to it anymore if I had to. So So I found one that was really old and in the public domain and put that in.
Nice. Okay, well, so just to get it across the finish line, 8 months is a really long time to wait for a response. It's a little on the
It was
ridiculous side.
so long. It was miserable. It was miserable. I was sending emails all the time, and finally I was just like, whatever. Like, when it happens, it happens. So
Sure,
I rewrote it.
their mistake. The
Right?
so I read the sample, and it seems like an interesting it seems like an interesting story where there is a faction of folks who have a certain gift that they're born with it, right?
Yes.
And they are basically just holding off in this fantasy world. Is it based off of the world it is today? You said that they're in Scotland, they're in America, so it's essentially the real world just plus magic, plus demons, plus, you know,
Yes.
darkness, basically. Okay. And it's
Yep.
set in the present day.
It is. It's a contemporary young adult fantasy. It
Okay.
is set in modern times. It's contemporary.
Good.
So the way I wrote it is they're a race of human beings who have this gene, and sometimes the gene skips them. So they try not to tell their kids about this gene, and they try to hide this kind of lifestyle from their kids in case that gene skips them. Because once you're aware of all the darkness around you, like, it seems to kind of gravitate towards you, and if you can't see it to fight it, then you're in trouble. So they try to protect their kids that way, where they hide it from them. So the book opens up with these two brothers. One's 16, one's 14. Their best friend is begging them to go on this date with these girls, and they're like, "Oh, fine, we'll go to a psychic." And there's their friend, the two girls, and then another girl, and nobody acknowledges this other girl. And the boys start getting really upset about it. They're like, why isn't anybody even speaking to her? That's so rude. And everyone's like, who are you even talking about? And come to find out, it's a ghost. So they rush home and tell their parents, and their parents are like, oh, by the way, you have this gene that makes it so you can see ghosts and you can fight demons, and now you got to go to with your cousin to Scotland and train.
Okay. That's an interesting way to kind of open up the whole world and everything. And I long thought that having that kind of would you call it a limiter, where it is just genetically bound, it could be anybody at any given point, definitely helps maybe with the writing process of somebody, maybe just for lack of a better example, and what's coming off the top of my dome here, like somebody who's a character you need to get moved out of the way to be a minor character and scooched off into obscurity, they didn't have that gene. And then somebody you want to bring to
Yep.
the forefront, they do. So I think that that's an interesting idea.
Thank you.
What inspired you to make this a YA fantasy as opposed to just standard fantasy and have the characters be adults or anything? Is there a coming of age sort of theme in the book that you explore?
A little bit. I love YA fantasy because I feel like you can put a lot more humor into it than you can adult fantasy. And one of the reasons I had the characters set so young is I wanted them to kind of kind of experience like a like puberty, but like magic puberty, where they either have this gene or they don't.
Magic is an allegory for puberty.
Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Okay. That's an interesting answer. I mean, the Harry Potter worked out great for J.K. Rowling for a real long time there. So I understand that. I just don't. I would not be able to write as the mind of a teenage kid anymore. I I'm too grumpy. I'm more like more in the vein of writing like a Red Foreman, especially when my kids aren't listening. Um, how long did it take you to kind of get into how long did it take you to write the book? Let's say first draft or second draft, if you had one, and did you have to kind of bounce things off of your kids to be, uh, hey, is this something a teenager would say, or did you just trust yourself on that front?
It took me 5 months to write the book, and I wasn't going to share the book with anyone. I honestly just wanted to see if I could write a book. And my oldest son, who was 10 at the time, 10 and 11, he it was kind of like right at the start of the pandemic. He would sneak in at night and read it. And I didn't know he was doing that. And then all of a sudden he comes in and he asked me, he said, you gotta keep writing. I have to know what happens. And so at that point I was like, well, maybe I'll share this with my husband. So my husband is a self-proclaimed non-reader, and he read it and he loved it. And I use him a lot as like an alpha reader to see if things are coming across the way that I think they are. And I also use him for some of the male perspectives, because I'll think, oh, I think this character is going to go this way and respond this way to the situation, and I'll run it by him, and he'll be like, I don't know if I would do that or not. I think it would be more like this. So I do use him. I don't really use my kids. I love them, but I don't use their opinion. I do like them to read and see what they think, but
Well, yeah, I mean, kids nowadays are throwing words like skibbity around and whatnot. So I would never want to write that down in a book either. But yeah, it's a good thing that you get your husband to help you out with just that difference in perspective for a character that may not think the exact same way that you do. And I think that having that person to bounce off of is definitely an important thing to have. It had occurred to me that when I read your submission, it was mother of three, and then you listed off three things like pilot, Kenpo instructor, you can stitch me up if I get stabbed, and also you're homeschooling your three kids. So I think what a lot of people are probably going to be wondering when they see all the kind of stuff you get up to is, when do you write? Because it doesn't sound like you have a whole lot of time to yourself.
I don't have a lot of time. So when I first started writing, when I wrote Flickr, I would get up at 4 in the morning and I would write until about 7 when my kids got up, and then we would do homeschool, and then we would kind of break for like evening time stuff, and I would write till midnight and just kind of repeat the process. I no longer do that anymore because I can't stay up that late nor get up that early. So I just write when I get a chance, and it's gone on long enough that my kids will see me sitting at the laptop and they'll realize I'm writing, and they'll either tell me what emergency they're having or save it till later.
Wow, how old are they when they start learning how to do that? Because I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old, and neither one of them really care if I'm at my laptop or not.
Yeah. I use the word emergency like loosely because usually it's like somebody took something of somebody else's, and I'm like, yeah, that can wait.
Yeah,
Figure it out yourselves.
right? Like, do what I did when I was a kid and just fight each other about it. Going back to the pilots, the you said that you had your I'm sorry, your private and instrument license, and but you haven't flown in years. Is I know that you have to basically re-up on that license every so often. I think you said 6 months, and you haven't done it in years. So, is there just not a place to fly nearby you, or is it
I have a
like
lot of places to fly nearby me. Um, so I went to college to be a pilot, and I got my pilot's license, and I decided I needed a break. So I went to work for a really small airport. Actually, it's Wendover Airport. It's pretty famous. It's where the B-29 pilots trained for World War II. Um, I don't know if you're like into history, it's pretty famous, but it's small. It's really small.
hmm,
And I was gonna work there for a summer, and I ended up really enjoying it. So I stayed longer than I probably should have. But I met my husband out there, so it worked out.
well, that's at least a good thing to take away from it. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so as far as like when you wrote the book, if you have you used your pilot's experience of being up high and just kind of seeing the world from that way up there vantage point, like does it kind of help you plan out maybe your landscapes in your writing at all on a wider scale, just from having seen things from so far away with your own eyeballs?
It does. It really does. I made up the towns that the town in Scotland and the town in America that this book takes place. And the town in Scotland especially, I wanted it to be unique and relatable, but not to the point that people are like, "Oh, she ripped off this town." No, it's not that. So I like created an island in the middle of the North Sea, right off the Scottish coast. And having flown around areas like that and over in Scotland, I could picture it, and it did help.
Well, you've flown over in Scotland too, huh? Wow.
Yes.
Been around. That's good. And where did you fly to that you learned Kenpo? And as far as with that kind of martial arts training, would you say that the battles in your book get physical, and that maybe your experience in martial arts has kind of helped you plan out and write out your action scenes if they are there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually use my Kempo experience more for this book and for fantasy in general than I do any other experience I've had. Just because you know how fantasy is, there's always fights. And I actually learned Kempo here in Utah. I'm from Utah and I studied here. I did get to go to China and train with the Shaolin monks. That was really fun and really, that was a real privilege.
You got to do a lot of fun things.
I
Um,
did.
God, when did you go to China? How long ago was that?
It was in 2004 and I just got my black belt and the whole company went over and it was very cool. We got to see the Great Wall. We got to see the Shaolin Temple. You know, it was just really neat. It was a good experience.
It's got to be a really big help for you, though, if you're writing even a fantasy book with, your demonic creatures and your magic and whatnot. As long as it's based in the real world, being that well traveled has got to help you as far as planning out not only just how certain places look, but how long it takes to get there and everything that's involved with traveling from one place to the other. So that's definitely got to be a big boost for you. I'm glad that to hear that you've gotten to do so many cool things. Uh,
Thanks.
yeah, the only thing that I'm really worried about is where you got your and when you got your education on what to do about me if I get stabbed, because you said you can stitch somebody up if they get harmed. So I'm assuming that that's made its way into your writing too. You want to talk a little bit about
That
that?
has. That has. Actually, I am an EMT. And so I really could stitch you up. I prefer not to, like, don't get stabbed, but I really could if I had to.
Okay, well, good news. I always do my best to not get stabbed. Um, so, did when you say that the boys in your the brothers that are in your story grew up not knowing about their gifts and everything, uh, but they grew up in Scotland. The names that you picked for them, I don't even want to try to pronounce them out loud. But can you tell me how they're pronounced for anybody who might pick your book up and read it? And are those Scottish names that you've heard before, or did you come up with those specifically for your story?
They're actually, so the boys are raised in America and their dad is Scottish and he has family in Scotland that come and visit all the time. And their names are actually after stars. So Rigel is one of the boys and Braconis is another.
Okay.
And on his mom's side, that's a tradition where all the kids are named after stars.
Ah, I see. Okay, well, that makes me sound sufficiently stupid, or at least poorly
No.
educated in astronomy. You mentioned in the. Nope, you didn't mention. I read on the Amazon page for your book that the Slayers, everybody who I'm assuming is everybody that has the gene that allows them to see and interact with these entities, uh, are part of what's called the Divine Cast. Can you go into a little bit about how what this hierarchy is? Is it a part of some global organization that kind of stays out of the line of sight of everybody else just to push back against any dark forces that are in the world that the Slayers are a part of? Maybe there's other sects within it. Just kind of paint that out for me a little bit, or does it give away a big part of your story?
No, I would love to explain that. So, in one of the chapters, one of the first chapters in the book, you find out that slayers have been around since the dawn of time, and the boys find out their dad is actually a descendant of one of the very first like recorded slayers in history, and because it happened so early on in history, they kind of make it churchy. So that's where they get like divine for their cast name. And like when they develop their gifts, they call it ascending, like they ascend into heaven, right? It's not really a churchy book, but they do kind of lean heavily into that lore of they're doing like heaven's work by killing these beings that come to hell. And actually later on in the book you find out like when you slay a demon, they create a vortex that can suck you into hell if you don't get out of the way. And a lot of times the boys do end up down there, and so they have to like have a family member tether them out of there. And I might have forgot what the question was.
Oh no, is it
Sorry.
the no, you're okay. The you were explaining it, the divine cast, it seems to be like this. The Slayers are a small part of a greater whole that's called the divine cast. At least that's how I read it in the
Yes.
book synopsis. So are there like other sects too, like that are,
Yes, there are. Okay, thank you for getting me back on track.
oh, no.
Yes, so there are. So they're all considered slayers because they do their main purpose is to slay the demons that kind of sneak into the world. But they also have different gifts. There's Oculus, which is they can see everything without like having a magic spell cast on them. So they can see if you're in the divine cast, you can see a demon. But a lot of times demons will, sorry if this is too gory, they'll like skin a human and like put the skin over them and try to like blend in. And so like average humans will see that and be like, oh, that person looks funny, but I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're a human being, because they don't really know there's demons out there, right? So the Oculus, they can see everything. Like they don't need any kind of assistance with that. And then there's casters, which are like spell casters. They're the ones who really control magic and can do spells. And there's healers, there's combat specialists, which they just have the gift of kicking butt. There's diviner who can see into the future. And there's one more. Oh, speaker to the dead. So speaker to the dead has the gift to see and hear the dead fully, because even though they're in the divine cast, they can see and hear ghosts, but it's really muffled, and speakers can hear them just plain as day.
Oh, okay. There's a whole lot going on there. Do the brothers belong to the same cast, or are they? Do they have two different abilities, or should I just get the book and read it myself?
You should get the book and read it yourself. But I'll tell you, Draconis is oh, he's a truth sayer. That's one I forgot. They're the ones who can look at somebody and just instantly know the truth about their situation and what's going on in life. And then Rigel is a speaker to the dead.
Okay, so neither one of them are the combat guys.
No, their cousin is. That's why they go to Scotland to train with their cousin.
Ah, okay. So you said that there's 4 books written. Are they the centerpiece of all 4 of them so far? Or is there a larger group that kind of builds up, just like in, some YA series that sometimes you get focus over here and sometimes you get focus over there?
They're the center of the attention, but it does revolve around their family. So as the books go on, you see more and more of their families coming in, more and more of the divine cast. And you get to see more bad guys.
Okay.
They're monsters. They're not really bad guys. They're just monsters.
Well, is there a yin to that yang where the demons and the monsters, they have their own little caste system that kind of mirrors or negates the divine cast, or is it just a horde that they have to hold back?
They're kind of explained like dumb animals, but they're sentient beings. And in the first book, something happens where one of the brothers ends up in a really bad part of hell where the demon pits are, where they just kind of form and get out, and then they can like find their little sneaky ways into the world.
Gotcha. Okay. Uh, Sounds like there's just a gigantic mass of them that are headed, that have to be held back by the brothers and everybody else that's in this big cast. And you said that you have the second book written and it's ready to be sent to the publisher. So does that mean, I believe you said that it was eight months process between you finishing your draft and getting the first one published? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes.
So is that to assume that your second novel is 8 to 9 months away from being released right now, or
I sure hope so.
you think it'll be right
I
about
feel
the
like
same?
I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing this round. Whereas the first round I didn't know. It took me forever to pick a publisher, and then I reread my book 3 times before I sent it off anywhere,
Okay.
which there was still a mistake. So I think I'm just gonna give it a quick edit and send it off.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, it sounds like you're looking to work with the same publisher again this time, right? For the series and
Yes.
everything. Okay. Well, do, as far as the publisher goes, do they send you reports of like sales and everything like that? As far as like whether or not you know where your book is available at, or do you generally just send people to Amazon looking for it? Is it on any bookshelves that you know of anywhere?
So it is available online worldwide at all the major places like Waterstones, Barnes and Noble. I even found it on Walmart. They're online.
Sure.
Amazon as well, if I didn't say that. It's available at the publisher. I have some friends and family in Australia, and I do know they've found it at like local bookstores there.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's one thing that I know that I've heard and experienced is like if you publish yourself on Amazon or whatnot, good luck ever seeing it on a bookshelf anywhere because it. I don't believe bookstores get any kind of a discount or whatever for ordering books published on Amazon. So to hear that you're actually at a place where somebody could go read the back of it, say that looks good, and then walk home with it, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling. Have you done
Great
anything?
feeling.
Oh, has to be. Have you done anything like book signings or anything? Has the publisher helped you set up any of those, or have you had to sort of do that yourself?
So that's something I have to do, but they will advertise for me. So I can send in any kind of events I'm doing. I have a website through them with a blog. I can add anything I need on there or want on there. I did a book signing locally. I did like a book release / book signing back in August. I've done some local cons. I've been pretty busy.
Good. Busy is good. Gets the word out.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Do you have any events that are coming up? Anything that you'd want to shout out on here? Maybe within the next
I
couple of
do.
months?
I do. So Dragonstone Nexus is coming up in December. It's in Salt Lake City, Utah. I will be there in the author section. It's a huge con here in Utah.
Awesome. So, is that something that you have to be invited to, or is it something you sign up for, or how's that work?
You can sign up for it. I'm in a local group of writers, and one of them had a table and she wanted to share. And so there's 6 of us who are going to be sharing a table.
Like all of you trying to sell your books, or all of you just kind of sitting there talking about your books to anybody who's interested to hear about it? How's the whole thing work?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's going to be a table full of authors. And not all of us are fantasy. There's just a smorgasbord of us. I can't remember what everybody has. There's romance and history and sci-fi. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time. Anything that Brandon Sanderson seems to touch always generally seems to be the best thing I can think of is like just good-hearted, like uplifting towards authors and storytellers in general. And I'd love to meet the guy someday.
I agree.
Okay.
Me too. I hope I meet him there.
I do. I hope you do too. I'd love for as many people as I've talked to as possible to have met him, just so you can all eventually be like, hey, there's a guy out near St. Louis, but not exactly. that would love to sit down and have a chat with you. Well, that's about all the time that we've got left for this evening's interview. But Rio, did you want to say anything to anybody? Tell us where we can find you on social media. Tell us what your website is, and everything that you say we'll make sure is down in the details of the video whenever we post it.
You can find me on Facebook under Rio L Barney and Instagram under Barney Rio. And then I have a website, which is www.riolbarney.com.
Simple and easy to remember. Okay. Anything on TikTok, Twitter, anything, or X, whatever?
I get a little bogged down in social media, so I just keep it to Facebook and Instagram.
It's working out for you, okay? You're getting some people to pay attention to you and whatnot. That's good. That's where we're focused on Facebook right now, for the most part. So. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody make sure that you like the video, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If there is a question you have for Rio that I didn't ask, put it down in the comments. She'll keep an eye on the video for as long as she can after it releases, and get back to you with an answer as long as it doesn't spoil the book. And with that, scribbles and scratches, we will fade to black.